I wonder what the analytics look like today. That video is always going to be at the top. I think that one's sitting on 250,000 views. 2 and 3, the Boss VE-500, getting started in pitch correction. And then there's the third one. Okay. Vocal channel. All right, we're now a vocal channel. Tell all your singers to subscribe, and we'll be going through this pedal. Well, I guess in today's video, we may as well go through the Boss VE-500. I can show you guys a few examples, as well as why I will not ever do another gig without one. Seriously, I will probably never do a show without my VE-500 ever again. This is what the software looks like, and the amount of EQing that you have per patch, as well as input. You've got input EQ, output EQ, patch EQ. You got pitch correction, harmony, 2 reverbs, a couple of delays, stereo delays. There's a loop as well for the beatboxer type guys. For me, I don't use it for that. I don't know how to beatbox. These sounds I'm going to make available in the description. In the meanwhile, we can have a little talk about why I like this pedal so much. Compression is key. If you don't have compression on things like vocals, clean guitars, bass guitars, drums, they're all over the place. It becomes a sound engineer's nightmare. Now, I know a lot of sound engineers would prefer to have control, and that's fine. And if you trust them to do it, that's fine. But when you're doing the kind of work that I'm doing, where it's literally set up in a corner somewhere, go and perform some entertainment for people, and you're normally very close to your PA as well, you need your mic to give you the most leveled sound. You know, you don't want to be pulling away slightly like I am now. You'll hear, if I was singing something a little bit soft and I just moved a little bit closer, it will get a bit louder. I mean, that's how a microphone works. But if I pull away to about here, you can't not hear me, you know. Compression is key. Noise gate is key, so that when you're not talking, complete silence. And that also helps with feedback. And I've got my noise gate on this pedal set pretty high. I think around 70 to 80%. Because why? When I sing, it has to happen. And then it's quiet again. I like a little bit of pitch correction. And my logic behind that is when I record vocals, I usually layer things up. And if one of the layers is slightly out of tune, it just throws the whole mix off. All right, a key feature to this pedal is you can run it in manual mode. What manual mode basically does is it turns each one of the 3 foot switches into an effect on and off, or an assignable on and off. And what I do is you do that by pressing foot switch 1 and foot switch 2 together, and then the device goes into manual mode. And I then connect an FS7 into the pedal to just patch up and patch down. And the reason I like that is so that I've always got control of my reverb and my delay and whatever effect I want on my vocal for a particular song. Foot switch 1, delay on and off. Foot switch 2, which would be my middle foot switch, would turn on a nice reverb for singing. It would turn on the pitch control just to keep my notes, just to give it that little bit of assistance when you need it. And that's it. And then if I press the harmony button, it gives me 1 times harmony. And I believe I go for the high, not the higher. And here are some examples of what that sounds like. Yeah. Rolling down. And then when I click on my middle button, which is my reverb, yeah, forward. Now I'm going to do the reverb again and some delay. Yeah. Delay off and reverb off, and I'm going to put the reverb back on with the harmony. The important thing is to make sure that you hit the key note. So if you're doing minor, you have to hit that note. Just so the pedal knows it's a major or a minor. Yeah, Roland, yeah. And that's what that one sounds like. All right, my next patch that I want to share with you guys is called Stadium. Now, this is more of a effect where your vocals get put a little bit further back in the mix, and the effects go a bit more to the center, especially if you're doing a lot of long-held sustained notes and you want to create more of a texture with your voice. And here's a couple of examples of what that sounds like. This is with the effect off, just enough reverb to sing on. Yeah, falling down, falling down. Now with the effect on. Okay, the next sound that I think most of us all want in our arsenal, and then when we have it, we don't know what to do with it. But think Mr. Brightside by The Killers is a distortion filter. So basically, at the push of a button, you'll have a telephone type distortion happening. Same as Stadium, the effect will be on immediately, and then when you press the harmony button, it turns that effect off, and then it turns on the reverb and delay, because when I use that sound, it's normally in the verses, and when I go back over, I don't want a dry vocal sound. And here are some examples of what that sounds like. Check 1, 2. Coming out of my cage, coming out of my cage, coming out of my cage, on down, coming out of my cage, coming out of my cage, coming out of now. No one will ever hear me distorting. Okay, the fourth sound that I would like to share with you guys is one that I call Vocoder. There are a few things in this one that we need to be aware of. Your enhanced settings, these all remain the same because I set them to system. But under Vocoder, it's like all my other patches, foot switch 1 will be delay on and off, foot switch 2 will be reverb on and off, But this time, the pitch control is disabled because it's using a vocoder, not a pitch control. And in Vocoder, I set this to source instrument type standard, depending on what style of vocoder you wanted, or whether it was getting the information via MIDI, mic, or the instrument. And here are some examples of what that sounds like. There's your reverb, there's your delay, and if you sing, falling, no effect on, falling, falling down, That's what it sounds like when you turn the guitar into tuner, but keep playing. Because I've got mine set up in such a way that even though my pedals have gone into tuner mode, it's still sending a signal into the VE-500, which is why the input and the through is so great. That's vocoder on its own. But it leaves my original vocals untouched. It just adds the vocoder level to it. So you can still continue to sing, and every now and then you can bring in a little bit of electronic vocals, and let's add reverb, delay. That's really cool. And then the final sound that I would like to share with you guys is one that I call What You Say. I'm sure you know the song where that comes from. It is inspired by Hide and Seek, which is basically just a proper vocoder that is completely bypassing any natural vocal sounds. Again, at the push of a button on the harmony button, you can turn that on or off, and then you'll have reverb as well as delay on foot switch 2 and foot switch 1. And here are some examples of what that sounds like. Same two effects. And if I play guitar and there's nothing happening because I haven't turned on the harmony button yet, but as soon as I turn on the harmony button, it will mute my mic and it will wait for sound out of my guitar to then tune my vocals to. So I'm about to press the harmony button now. There it is on. And if I press my tuner on my pedal, I get pure vocoder sound, little reverb on that vocoder, a little reverb on that vocoder, a little delay, and little reverb on that, what you see, but it all depends, what you say, but how it do, a little bit of reverb and delay, little bit of chords that show the way of this tune that I'm making up on the spot, and C major, G and F, and one final sad A minor. So I think you can see the reason why I can't gig without this pedal. It gives me a clean sound, a sound good enough to record YouTube videos with, a sound good enough to perform live with, and just at the touch of a button, any sort of soundscape that I'm trying to create. At this point in time, less is more, which works for me, you know, just having a clean vocal, a plate vocal, reverb, and then my more extreme sounds like the distorted filter and the vocoder. If you like to see some of the stuff that I'm doing off of YouTube, like from streaming to performing live or just posting pictures of whatever gear I'm currently using, that's my Facebook page as well. Another bonus tip that I wanted to share with you guys, system. You can do this on the pedal as well. Set your knobs to something that is important to you. I set mine to enhancement. I set mine to output EQ level and then patch. And the reason I do this is because sometimes on stage, if you find your mic is a bit too sharp, or if you find that your vocals could just go up by like 1 dB or down, or vice versa for both of these parameters here, you can just on the fly adjust that. And lastly, another thing I wanted to show you was on the input here, get used to this notch frequency and how the depth affects it. Try do this when there aren't people around, but let your mic feed and slowly click through the frequency until you notice that feedback goes. And then once it's gone, go 1 or 2 each way as well, just to make sure that you've definitely found the right frequency, and then go between sharp, middle, and blunt to sort of, you know, reduce your frequency size so you're not affecting your vocal sound too much. I found this was a lifesaver in at least 2 gigs. I don't even EQ my mic or anything. I'm doing everything on the pedal. I've got a 3-band EQ on my mixer, left and right, because I run my unit in stereo. I've maybe boosted the tops like from here to like there. And I've maybe cut my mids from there to like there. And then I've maybe put in the bass, the low cut in as well, just to further protect that bottom end that we don't need. And that's it. I do everything else on my pedal. And then when I rock up to a gig and then I notice a frequency, I immediately go over here to this notch filter, and then I'll scan through it on the pedal. Or if my vocals are just not loud enough compared to the music, I don't adjust my volume on my channels. I just bump the EQ up by 1 or 2. But thanks, guys. I hope that wasn't too boring. And that you'll consider giving it a like, subscribe, ask some questions down below as well. Happy performing as we all slowly start getting back to normal and playing gigs again. I wish you well, stay safe, and until the next time, let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. Cheers.